What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. Head to my newsletter below and grab a free graphic novel, a free novella, all the free things for signing up for the newsletter. I appreciate everybody who's on the newsletter, getting all the updates from me, and checking out and reading the books. You guys are the best. Speaking of reading the books, we have a bookstore up, and you can grab any of my comics digital. All my comics are up digitally. You can get them physically. I'll sign them for you. And you get any of my novels physically also. I can't put novels digitally on here because of my agreement with Amazon, but I can send signed physical novels to you. My steampunk series is my most popular. I've got sci-fi novels here. You just click on it like so, get this perk. And then there's a drop-down list of which book. And I've got a description of each book to make it handy for you so you can check things out. There's a little something for everybody. I would say if you are interested in steampunk, check out my steampunk. That's my most nationalist, rah-rah patriotic sort of book. If you like space opera like Babylon 5 or Star Trek, I'd go with the Stars Entwined and Colony Launch, the same series pretty much. If you like Star Wars and want to check out something like that, I'd grab Justified. And then I've also got 2 out-of-print books, Make Science Fiction Fun Again, which is my short fiction collection. Lots of different stories there. And Star Realms Rescue Run, which is based on the card game app. I only have like 30 copies of each of these left, not going back into print. So check those out. All right. Oh, and comics, of course. I've got Flying Sparks and Dynamite Thor and others. Go check it out. All right. You should never market like that, by the way, before we get into this. You should pick one thing. This is my advice to you, and just sell that. So really, I should just go on and be like, just buy the Stars Entwined. It's the best book ever, and not mention any of the others. Because if you give customers too many choices, it paralyzes them. And unfortunately, with so many books out, I tend to do that. So buy the Stars Entwined. Let's get into the topic now. Yesterday, we got a apology from this YA author. Her name's Jessica Cluess. I have not heard of her. She's a mid-list author. It seems like her books don't quite sell as well as mine do, even though she's through the whole Scholastic program and all that. But I mean, she looks like she writes competent fantasy. I don't know much about her again. I'm writing to apologize for a thread I tweeted yesterday. I take full responsibility for my unprovoked anger towards Lorena Herman. I don't know if you pronounce her name that way, but I decided to do it because of the theme of what's going to come here. And the impact of my words on her and all who read them. I neither expect nor will ask for anyone's forgiveness. Gosh, this must be pretty terrible. Or to engage with me further regarding this issue. I want to acknowledge the pain I caused and to apologize sincerely for it. Oh, gosh, her words were literally violence. I mean, my words were misguided, wrong, and deeply hurtful. Literally violence. I must and will do better going forward. Okay, so there's your corporate gobbledygook speak. And here's what actually kind of went down a little bit. I am committed to learning more. Oh, no, we're still in corporate gobbledygook speak. Sorry. Learning more about Miss Herman's performance. Is it Germans? Maybe not. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I don't know. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to harp on the name. Lorena German is the master race, I guess. Okay. Important work with hashtag disrupt text, which we're going to get into in a second. I agree that what counts as canon in literature changes over time, and that it can be and should be contested and expanded to other, more inclusive kinds of texts. I am deeply sorry. I will strive to do better. Oh my gosh. She's deeply sorry. She must have pretty much killed or raped somebody from the sound of things. I mean, sounds like she's going to get fired. I'm sure she's going to get fired by her agent and never published again, because that's how these things go. But of course, the apology is not going to make that happen. It's going to exacerbate the people attacking them and get them more riled up, saying it's not enough, and they have to, and that's already happening. A bunch of blue check mark authors are already going, it's not enough. We demand reparations, the usual. It must have been pretty horrible. But you kind of see the theme here, and you might have seen me talk about this a little bit in the stream last night. If you did, But the canon in literature must be changing and be more inclusive. And of course, they're talking about just removing the classics, and that's the sort of the theme of the last week. They're really pushing, and that's what this disrupt text is about. They're literally trying to disrupt people's reading of the classics. They don't want you to be reading Mark Twain or The Scarlet Letter or any of that, or Beowulf or anything that's a real classic. They want to erase that to try to prop up these minority writers who are current year writers who are just writing about how their skin color all day long and talking about how they're oppressed because of their skin color, and not actually contributing anything literarily to anybody. And that's the entire intention of this disrupt text thing. It's literal book burning, except for you can't burn books anymore. So they're just trying to force people to not read them and force people to blacklist them on their lists of what should be taught to children and things like that, so that they get memory hold. That is the only way you can really burn books anymore in the digital age. And so that's what they're trying to accomplish. So what was her crime? How bad? Why did she have to make this horrific apology? First, we have to go back to her agent, who actually threw her under the bus. This is another example of TradPub just being absolutely crazy. Of course, we got a white man right here being a little, what about this that starts with a B. And I thank everyone who took it upon themselves to bring my recent tweets of my client Jessica Lewis to my attention. So people were Karening him because she is his client, even though he didn't say anything. She just made a comment, which I guess is horrible. Wait till the punchline of what she said. This is amazing. We're going to get to that by the end of the video. I also apologize for taking so long to publicly respond. Why would you publicly respond? You should just say, screw you. I am running a book literary agent. Like her books or don't, I'm not responsible for what she said. She's allowed to have her own opinions, and don't be such a snowflake. That's exactly how I'd respond, if I responded at all. But I felt obliged to speak directly with my client and then gather my thoughts. Let me be clear. Jessica's behavior yesterday, in which she made a series of condescending and personal attacks on a Dominican-American woman educator. Dominican-American woman educator. So this is what this is all about. So Jessica said something that was contrary to what a woman who is a different skin color than her said. And since Jessica's white and this woman's not white, therefore, what she said is bad. It doesn't matter what she said. It doesn't matter how true it was, which we're going to find out it was very true. And there was absolutely nothing, quote, deeply problematic and inexcusable about it in just a moment. But because Dominican-American woman educator, the identity is all that matters in this situation. The truth doesn't matter. And that's the whole problem with traditional publishing. Think about it. This guy has a fiduciary responsibility towards this Jessica Lewis. This is his client. He is making her money. He is out there attempting to sell her book on her behalf, and she has an exclusive contract with him to do so. And he is throwing her under the bus publicly on Twitter because some lady got triggered by what she said. That's it. It's crazy. I care very much for Jessica. I also hold her accountable for her actions. I realize that my silence up to now may have given the impression that I am indifferent to what took place yesterday, or even that I am complicit. Right? What? I promise this. I am listening. I am working to elevate the voices of those who have been historically gobbledygook and barf. Okay. So his silence was literally violence. Her words were literally violence. Remember, silence is violence and words are violence. So if you're silent, you are being violent. But if you say anything, you're also being violent. So just don't be white is the conclusion here that you should take away. If you are white, I can't say what I want to say because I'll get banned on YouTube. Okay. All right. So what did she actually say? And here we go. With It's Not Enough by the SJWs here. A tepid blanket apology to everyone who is targeted attack on Lorena Harvey, right? Vitriol of your thread. Spin, not sincerity. Of course, right? Okay, and here we go. Here's what she actually said. This was a quote tweet. Did y'all know that many of the classics were written before the 1950s? Yes, of course. That's what makes them classics, you fucking moron. Sorry for my, I'm getting agitated. Think of the U.S. society before then, the values that shaped this nation afterwards. Yes, they were good then, and now they're a train wreck. Exactly. That is what is in those books. Yes, that's why we need to read them and have our children study them. That is why we gotta switch it up. Huh? This ain't about being old. Okay, So what happened here? She said, if you think Hawthorne, who's the writer of the Scarlet Letter, was on the side of the judgmental Puritans in the Scarlet Letter, then you're an absolute idiot and you should not have the title of educator in your Twitter bio. That is very true. Objectively, that book is about the Scarlet Letter being a bad thing and somebody being falsely persecuted because of mob judgments. That's what this is about. That's literally what the text is about. And yes, correct. You should not be educating people if you are saying contrary to this, because you are not educating people. You are spewing idiotic disinformation. She is correct. That's it. That's all she said. It's anti-intellectual, anti-curiosity bullshit is poison, and she's right. I will stand here and scream that is sheer goddamn evil until my hair falls out. I do not care. Well, she did care as soon as she got threatened with being fired for the fact that she stood up for a classic book, stated what was actually said in the classic book, and told the person who was being an idiot about the classic book that they are, in fact, an idiot. That's all she did. It had nothing to do with race. If the person was white doing this and being an idiot, she would have probably said the same thing. It has nothing to do with the race of the people involved. And they, of course, made it that way because that's how you make the cause. So now she's going to get fired anyway because, you know what? It's never enough. Her agent's going to fire her. She's never going to go anywhere again. She simply doesn't have enough of a following or a or sales to get past this, unfortunately. And she's not being smart enough about this to just go full burn the ships and go indie going forward. So, oh well. She equivocated, and this is what happens when you equivocate at the end of the day. So that's that. That's traditional publishing. There is a concerted effort to remove the classics going on. We talked about this in another video the other day about David Bowles and his attempt to diminish the classics. They are pushing this. The educators are pushing this. The academics are pushing this. The literary publishers are pushing this because they want to sell their new books by these new authors that are not selling as well because they're frankly not as good. They want to remove merit from the equation, and that's the entire point. But that's why the indie authorship exists, because Amazon is the great equalizer right now, if they don't ban us. But it is, and that's why people check out our books and not the books by these crazy mobs. This is the Scarlet Letter. Jess here is getting painted with a Scarlet Letter herself, ironically, by a mob of Puritans of the SJW sort that want to bring her down. Crazy. Hit the like and subscribe button, everybody. Leave your comments down below. I love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you think about this, and read the classics to your children. Do it. See ya.